The ruins were silent. Wind moved through broken buildings, carrying dust and the ghost of old battles. Rex stood in the same place where he had lost his best friend years ago. His boots pressed into the cracked soil. He looked around and remembered explosions. Screams, the sound of dying soldiers. He had survived that day. Barely, but something inside him had died too. Now the clone was here. Rex stepped through the wreckage and found signs of movement. Scorch marks. A trail of blood, not from the clone, but from a group of mercenaries. They were sent to kill him. They failed. One of them was still alive. Barely. Rex leaned over him. "What happened?" he asked. The man coughed, shaking. "We opened fire. First, he didn't shoot back. He just moved like a shadow." "Did he speak?" "No," the mercenary whispered. "But he looked at me like he knew I was scared, like he'd seen fear before." Rex stood. He stared at the battlefield. The clone wasn't just retracing steps. He was searching for something, far away. The clone sat alone in a broken bunker. His eyes looked across the empty landscape. In his hands was a rusted piece of a helmet. It had a name on it, SGT, Milo Kane, Rex's old squad mate. The man who died saving him. The clone didn't know who Milo was, but he had found the helmet. And didn't throw it away. He kept it. He studied it, and for the first time. His hand trembled. In another part of the ruins, Rex stood before a burned-out vehicle. He touched the metal. It was still marked with his old squad's logo, a white wolf over red wings. He smiled just a little. Then he looked down at the wreckage. Suddenly, something clicked in his mind. The clone wasn't just following memories. He was trying to understand them. Back at the main base, General Braddock grew impatient. "Why haven't you taken the clone down?" He shouted into the comms. "We've lost 5 teams," said the officer. "He's not fighting like a machine. He's fighting like... He knows what's coming next. He's learning." Braddock asked. "Yes, sir," the officer said. "And something else?" "He's hesitating." Night fell. The clone moved through the ruins and found a small home half buried in ash. Inside was an old holoprojector. He powered it on. A flickering image played. A family laughing. A soldier young, proud, full of hope. It was Rex long before the wars. The clone stared at the image, his head tilted slightly, like he didn't understand what he was seeing. But wanted to. He watched it twice. Then he closed his eyes. At sunrise, Rex entered the home.
Aloe is
Still glowing, he saw the imprint in the dust where the clone had sat. He realized something. The clone wasn't trying to become Rex. He was trying to understand what Rex had lost. Not the strength, not the orders, the humanity, but the peace didn't last. A gunshot rang out. Rex dropped, rolling behind cover. The kill team had arrived. Black armor, plasma rifles. Silent steps. Rex was not their target, but he was in the way. "Stand down," he shouted. "You don't know what he's becoming." They didn't listen. Explosions shook the ground. Rex ran through falling buildings, trying to reach the clone before they did. Reached the edge of the ruins and froze. The kill team lay scattered across the ground. Not dead. Just disabled. Alive. Breathing. The clone stood over them. He held one soldier's rifle, dropped it gently to the ground. He looked at Rex for the first time. He spoke. "Why did you become more than a weapon?" Rex didn't answer right. "A way." He walked forward, slowly, carefully. "Because I learned pain," he said, "and pain taught me to care." The clone's face didn't change, but something behind his eyes shifted. He turned and walked into the dust, leaving Rex alone. Rex stared after him. The clone could have killed, but he didn't. Not because of programming, because of choice. The city of Navaris was one of the last strongholds on the edge of human space. Tall towers touched the clouds, glowing with lights. Civilian traffic moved through the sky. People lived their lives unaware that something dangerous was coming closer, but deep under the city. In a hidden bunker, alarms were already flashing red. Unauthorized breach in Sector 7. The computer said guards. Rushed in, doors opened. But no one was there, just darkness and silence. Then the cameras blinked out one. By one, the clone had arrived. He moved like a ghost, no footsteps. No sound. He entered the secret facility. Beneath the city, this was not a random attack. He was searching for something. He reached a sealed door with glowing locks. Sign read, Project Echo Phase 2 Storage. The clone placed his hand on the door, and for the first time, his face showed something new. Fear across the planet. Rex got the emergency signal. He stood on the balcony of a rooftop, staring at the message on his wrist console. Unauthorized. Access to Phase 2? His heart dropped. No, Rex whispered. He raced to his ship. Inside the cockpit, the AI spoke. Phase 2 was never completed. It was shut down years ago. No, Rex said, strapping in. They didn't shut it down, they buried it. Back in the bunker, the clone stood in front of a stasis pod. Inside floated something terrible. Not just a clone of Rex, but a new version. Bigger, taller, eyes glowing faint blue, muscles enhanced. Brain altered with alien DNA. This was Echo X, the military's backup plan. A weapon without limits. No heart. No mercy. No hesitation. The clone backed away from the pod, but it was too late. A voice echoed through the bunker. Phase 2 activation confirmed. Powering up. The pod opened. Gas hissed out. Red lights filled the room, and from the smoke, Echo X stepped forward. The clone raised his hand, ready to fight. But Echo X moved fast. Too fast. One strike, the clone was thrown across the room. Crashing into a wall, he stood again, bleeding, breathing. Harder than ever before. Echo X didn't say a word. It didn't need to. It only saw one thing in the room. A target. Outside, civilians in Navarres looked up as the ground shook. Explosions hit the surface. Fire burst through the city's lower levels. Panic spread. Shuttles filled the skies. Screams echoed through the streets. The city was under siege. Rex landed near the bunker. Smoke filled the air. Security bots were destroyed. Walls were cracked. He found injured soldiers, some unconscious, some frozen in fear. What happened here? Rex asked one of them. He was fast. Not like the first clone, the soldier whispered. He didn't hesitate. He'd just stored through everything. Ran into the bunker. He saw the damaged walls, the open pod. The clone's blood on the floor, and he knew Echo X was awake, deeper in the tunnels. The clone limped through the dark, holding his side. He was hurt. He was slower now, but he didn't stop. Because he had finally learned something. He wasn't made to destroy. He was made to stop what came next. Echo X climbed through the wreckage, heading toward the surface. The city above was full of people, and Echo X didn't care to it. Everyone was a test, as chaos spread across Navarres. Rex's voice came through the coms. Evacuate the city now. The military asked, What are we dealing with, Commander? Rex stared at the burning streets. Then he said one word. Me, without a soul. The city of Navarres burned. People ran through the streets. Buildings collapsed. Emergency sirens screamed across the sky, and above it, all in the highest tower, stood Echo X. Watching it didn't smile. It didn't speak. It was not designed to enjoy chaos. It was designed to test destruction. Commander Rex ran through the smoke, weapon ready. He dodged falling rubble and helped a child into a shuttle. Get them out of here, he shouted to a soldier. Then he looked up. He knew he was running out of time. He couldn't stop Echo X alone, but maybe he wasn't alone anymore. On the edge of the city, in an underground tunnel, the first clone moved slowly. He was bleeding. His shoulder was damaged. His movements were not smooth anymore, but his eyes were clear. He wasn't afraid. Not anymore, Rex. Found him there. They stood in silence for a long moment. Same face, same body, but not the same inside. Finally, Rex said, You've seen what Echo X is. We can't stop it alone. The clone looked at him. You once said pain taught you to care. the clone said. Now I understand. Then help me, Rex said. Not as a weapon. As a man? The clone nodded, for the first time. They fought together. They moved through the city like twin shadows, fast, focused, deadly, but not killing. They worked to clear civilians, fought off rogue bots left behind, protected people as buildings fell, and people began to whisper. Two of them. Who are they? Some thought Rex had returned twice, but Rex knew the truth. This time, he wasn't the strongest one on the field. At the city core, they found the last defense tower inside. They accessed the central system and saw the nightmare HFY was heading straight for the city's fusion reactor. If it reached the core, it would overload it. The whole city would go up in flames. Then we stop him here, Rex said. The clone looked at the screen. This one. Isn't like us, he said. No, Rex agreed. Something worse. They climbed the tower. Explosions shook the ground. Fire rose behind them. At the top, HFY stood still, waiting. It turned as they arrived. No emotion, just calculation. 2. Errors, HFY said in a cold voice. Rex raised his rifle. The clone clenched his fists. The final fight began. HFY moved like lightning. It slammed Rex into a wall, denting the metal. The clone struck back faster now, learning every second. They fought as one. Rex fired precision shots. The clone moved in close, but HFY didn't fall. It was smarter, stronger, designed to win. It knocked Rex down, grabbed the clone by the throat. Hard as weakness, HFY said. The clone stared into its eyes and whispered, No, it's what makes me strong. He headbutted HFY, grabbed its arm, and pulled it off the tower. Both of them fell. Rex screamed, No. He ran to the edge and looked down. Smoke rose. No sign of them, just fire. And silence, but then movement. From the rubble, the clone crawled out, covered in ash and blood. Rex ran down to him. You're alive, he said, kneeling beside him. The clone looked up, barely breathing. Did we stop it? Rex nodded. He stopped it. The clone closed his eyes. For the first time, Rex didn't see a copy. He saw a man. Later, his rescue teams arrived. Rex watched from a rooftop. The city had survived because they had stood together. But deep inside, Rex knew it wasn't over. Because Phase 2 was only the beginning. The fires in Navarras were finally out. The people were safe. The reactor was stable. News channels called it a miracle, but they didn't know the truth. They didn't know a clone had helped save the city. They nearly died doing it. Commander Rex sat beside the injured clone in a hidden bunker. Medical bots worked quietly. The clone's wounds were deep, broken ribs, crushed leg, internal bleeding. He shouldn't have survived, but he did. Not because of programming, because of will. Your body's failing, said quietly. The clone opened one eye. I'm not done yet. You don't have to fight anymore. The clone shook his head slowly. You were made for war. I was made to replace you, but now I choose to be something else. Rex stood, then rest. You've earned it. But just as he turned to leave, an alert flashed across his comm screen. Alert, Project Echo new activation detected. Rex froze. No, he whispered. We shut it down. We destroyed HFY. But the alert showed something worse. New subject, Echo Z, activated on Luna Command Base. Meanwhile, at Luna Command, the military's top base near Earth, General Braddock stood in front of a dark room. Scientists warned him, HFY failed. This one hasn't even been tested. Braddock didn't care. The clone fought back. It developed emotion. Rex sympathized with it. That makes both of them threats. He tapped a button. Behind the glass, a new figure opened its eyes. It looked like Rex. But this one smiled. A cold, fake smile. Echo Z was not a soldier, it was a hunter. Back on Navarras, Rex and the clone listened to the new intel. They were being blamed for the city's damage. Reports claimed Rex had gone rogue, and the clone labeled a terrorist. They're rewriting the story, Rex growled. They want us erased. The clone slowly sat up. He winced in pain but didn't stop. They're not afraid of Echo X. They're afraid of what I became. They don't want a clone with a heart, Rex said. They want something they can control. Now they had it Echo-Z. Suddenly, the bunker's lights blinked. Doors locked. Rex reached for his weapon, but the clone grabbed his arm. No, he said. This is a betrayal protocol. What? They installed it in me, in case I ever turned. The clone looked at Rex.com despite the alarms. They've activated it. My body is shutting down. Rex stared at him, horrified. You saved. This city, you chose to be more. And now they're killing you for it? The clone didn't answer. He simply stood, weak but proud. Then help me one last time, Rex said. We'll stop this. Together. The clone smiled just a little. It was the first true smile he'd ever made. They escaped just before the facility exploded. Braddock had sent drones to erase them both. But Rex knew the truth now. This wasn't about cleaning up Echo-X. It was about making sure no clone ever felt human again. In the final scene, Rex and the clone look at a stolen data chip. Inside, files on Echo-Z. It was faster, smarter, and trained to hunt Rex himself. It's not just after me, Rex said. It's after everything human in you. The clone nodded, then whispered, Then we hunt it first. The stars were silent. The spaceship floated like a dead bird in space. All systems were off. No lights, no power. Just one weak signal blinking waiting for someone to listen. Inside the ship, man was dying. Commander Raylan took his final breath. His suit was torn, blood floating in the air like red mist. He leaned close to the camera and whispered one word, watch. Then the screen turned black. At the same time across Earth, something strange happened. For exactly 3 seconds, the stars in the night sky shook. Not moved, not disappeared, but shimmered like water. Astronomers saw it. Satellites saw it. Even people on the ground saw the sky blur for a second. And then, everything became normal again. But nothing was normal. 3 days later, at the Global Space Research Center in Iceland, a young space scientist named Myra Evans sat in a dark lab. She had played the last recording from Commander Raylan 12. Time's already. She pressed play again. The voice came from the broken radio log, static, crackling. Then the word, watch. She paused the video and stared at the screen. What do we need to watch, Commander? She whispered. Mira was not famous, not rich, not a genius. But she was curious deeply, dangerously curious. She worked with satellite data, and over the past 2 days, she found something weird. At the exact time Commander Raylan died, the stars shifted. But not like usual. They shifted in a pattern, not random, not natural. Like a signal. She printed out star charts and using a ruler connected the dots between the flickers. Her eyes widened. It formed a shape that looked like an eye. Myra showed her boss. He laughed. You're seeing ghosts in the stars, but she couldn't stop. That night, she broke into the old satellite archives. Most of the files were old, boring, whether data, GPS, nothing important. Then she found file 045. X_Staret was from the year 1952. The file showed an object floating just outside Earth's orbit. A satellite. Nothing strange except for one fact. Was not made by any country. No launch record. No ID. Just ... there. And it was still there. Myra hacked into a live telescope feed and aimed it at the coordinates. Her breath stopped. There. It was. A metal object. Small. Rusted. With a strange symbol glowing on it. It looked like an eye. Next day, what? Mira stood in front of the Director of Space Intelligence. There's something up there. Not ours. Not from this Earth, she said. The director raised an eyebrow. Alien. I don't know, but it's connected. The stars, the last message, the flicker. It's all pointing to this object. He leaned back. What do you want? I want to see it up close. A small probe was launched the next morning. It reached the object in 4 hours. Live video came in as the camera moved around the metal shell. It was old. It's very old. The surface was scratched. The symbol on it pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Then, the camera found something strange. A door. The probe opened it. Inside, there was only one thing. A small black box. The box opened automatically. A light turned on, and suddenly, a countdown began. 0 hours, 5 minutes, and 0 seconds. 0 hours, 4 minutes, and 59 seconds. 0 hours, 4 minutes, and 58 seconds. ... Everyone in the control room froze. Is it a bomb? Someone asked. No, Mira said. It's a message. The countdown ended. The screen went white. Then a voice played. It's not in English. Not in any known language. But everyone understood it. It said, "You have watched. Now you will be seen." And then, stars flickered again. That night, across the world, more people started reporting strange things. Static in radios, lights flickering at the same time. Dreams of someone or something watching them from the sky. Mira sat alone, staring at the night sky. "What did you mean, Commander Raylan?" she whispered again. Behind her, the screen glitched. The camera feed showed static. Then a face appeared for a second. Not human. Black eyes. Pale skin. And then it vanished. The room was silent. The Global Space Research Center stared at the screen. The strange voice from the satellite had played only once. "You have watched. Now you will be seen." And then, the stars flickered again. Mira couldn't sleep. She sat in her small office, watching the video again and again. She slowed it down to 0.25 speed. She zoomed in on the strange face that appeared in the camera for just 1 second. It had black eyes and pale, smooth skin. No nose, no mouth, just watching. She paused the video. "What are you?" she whispered. She opened the file logs from the probe. The satellite had no parts made from Earth. Not Russian, not American, not Chinese. No plastic, no copper wires, no metal Earth had ever used. Even the signal it sent was strange. It was using frequencies humans didn't know existed. That satellite didn't belong here. The next day, a new team was sent to bring the satellite back to Earth. They used a robotic arm to carry it inside of space. Lab in orbit, Mira watched from the control room as the lab camera showed the object lying on a metal table. The symbol on it, the glowing eye, was still pulsing. "Let's open it fully," said the mission lead. They unlocked the outer layer. Inside was a map, a floating 3D hologram of the stars. But this wasn't our galaxy. It was something far away, beyond any human telescope. One star blinked red. Mira zoomed in. A star at it was a location. "What is this place?" someone asked. Mira felt cold. "I think it's a destination, or maybe a warning." Suddenly, the satellite started to shake. The lights in the space lab blinked. The symbol on the shell flashed faster. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 1 second. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. Another voice played from the box. This time it was in English. "It opens now. You must come, or they will." Then silence. A few seconds later, the cameras from Mars Station Alpha went dark. Mira's phone buzzed. She opened a secure message from Mars Surveillance. "Urgent. Alert. Object appearing near Mars." She quickly pulled up live feed. What she saw made her heart stop. A dark circle had appeared in space just above Mars. Not spinning, not moving, just floating. Black hole, but not a natural one. It wasn't pulling anything inside. It was calm. Stable, a perfect black circle. Like a door. Everyone in the control room stared at it. "That's not a black hole," Mira said. "It's something else." 3 hours later, a secret emergency meeting was held. The leaders of Earth's top space agencies were there. "What is it?" one asked. "Should we destroy it? Can we?" Mira stood up. She pointed at the blinking star on the alien map. "I think that hole is a path to this place. It opened after the countdown. They want us to go there. And if we don't? Someone asked. Mira looked at them. They said they will come. That night Mira sat alone, staring at the stars through her telescope. The sky looked the same, quiet, peaceful, but she knew someone was watching back. Suddenly her laptop beeped. New signal detected. She opened it. A new message from the satellite. 3 words. Don't be late. In orbit, the black hole near Mars pulsed once. Then it opened wider. A small light blinked from inside. Something was there. Something waiting. The world held its breath. The black hole near Mars was no longer small. It had grown larger, quiet, round, and waiting, but it didn't suck anything in. It didn't destroy planets or light. It just existed, like a perfect door made of darkness inside. The Global Space Research Center. Mira sat at the control desk. On the screen was the satellite's last message. Don't be late. She looked at the alien map again. The red blinking dot, the destination, was still active, still calling. A voice in her mind whispered, "You have to go." 3 days later, the world launched its fastest ship ever, the Helios X. A built-in secret crew of 4. Dr. Myra Evans, mission lead and scientist. Captain Ishan Vale, pilot and ex-military. AI specialist. Diego, engineer and space mechanic. Their goal: enter the black hole. Discover the truth. Return alive. The world watched as Helios X moved toward the black circle. Engaging main thrusters, said Captain Asun. The black hole filled the screen so large it blocked the stars behind it. Crossing event horizon in 3, 2, 1. The ship passed through. No shaking, no explosion, just silence. Then everything changed. The screens blinked white. The ship floated in total darkness. No stars, no planets, just a single beam of light far ahead. Ishan pushed the ship forward. As they moved closer, space around them began to shift. And then they came out the other side. What they saw was impossible. Another solar system, another Earth, same continents, same oceans, same clouds, but there were no lights, no satellites, no airplanes, no sign of life. Mira stared out the window. "It's Earth," she said softly, "but it's empty." They landed in what looked like New York City. The buildings were still standing, cars were parked, coffee cups still sat on tables, but everything was frozen, dead quiet. Like the world had ended in a single second. Leah found a working street camera. She played the last recording. People walking. Then suddenly everyone looked up at the sky at the same time. A sound like a soft hum played. Then one by one, they vanished, gone. No screams, no panic, just disappeared. Inside an office, Diego found something shocking. A wall full of photos of Myra, her face, her research. Back on real Earth, but this is impossible, she whispered. They were watching me? Captain Ishan found a newspaper dated the same day Raylan died in the real world. Mira said, "Everything here stopped the moment we received his last message." That night, as the crew rested inside a safe building, Mira sat alone. She stared. At the sky, this world's sky looked the same, but the stars blinked strangely. She felt something again, like eyes watching her suddenly. The camera drone next to her turned on by itself. A video played. The screen showed a man, Commander Rayland, alive, but not from her world. He looked tired, sick, his face pale. "If you see this..." "I failed," he said. "They found us. I thought I could stop it. I was wrong." Mira leaned closer. Raylan stared straight into the camera. "Don't trust the voice. It's not a message. It's a trap." And then he looked up, his last word. "Watch." The video ended. The stars. Above, Mira shook again. The streets were empty, not damaged, not burned. Just still, the city felt like it had been frozen in time. Myra and the Helios X crew moved carefully through the lifeless streets of Earth. to a perfect copy of their own world, but completely silent. They entered an old building marked World Communication. Center. Inside, clocks had stopped at 14 hours, 11 minutes, and 36 seconds. All screens were frozen. No electricity. No signals. Captain Ashan checked his watch. The exact time matched the moment when Commander Raylan said, "Watch." In their own universe, how can this world stop at the same second as ours heard the message? No one had answered. Mira turned on a battery-powered video player they found in the room. There were hundreds of saved file security footage from all over Earth, too. They watched one. A park camera. Children played, people smiled, birds flew. Then, the air changed, the sky shimmered. A low hum filled the sound. People looked up. One by one, they froze in place, and then they vanished. No light, no flash, no warning, just gone. Another video showed scientists in a lab. One of them stood at a whiteboard writing, "They're not attacking, they're selecting." Then she looked into the camera and said, "We opened it. We watched. Now they know we exist." Static. The team continued exploring. They found a large underground base with human signs, but it looked different, not built by current technology. Older, but more advanced. The walls had strange markings, half human, half Phalian symbols. In the main control room, Diego found a panel still working. He turned it on. A message appeared. Project Echo. Human observation. Attempt number 6. Below. That status failed. Planet abandoned. Host bodies collected. Initiate reset. Leah stepped back. "Are we just an experiment?" "No," Mira said quietly. "We're the experiment." Suddenly, a new file opened by itself. A video feed that it showed Commander Raylan. Again, like in the last part, but this time, he was in this world. Same face, same suit, same voice. He sat in a dark room, blood on his helmet, breathing heavily. "If anyone sees this," he whispered, "Earth is not alone. Earth was never alone. They've been copying us." He coughed. "They take. Who listens? They need silence. They fear thought." He looked up at something off screen and whispered, "Don't watch the sky." Then static. Mira stared at the screen, to Raylan's. 2 messages. One said to watch. The other said not to. One of them was lying, or worse, both were true. As the crew walked back to the ship, Leah froze in the street. "I hear something," she said. Everyone stopped. From above, sound filled the sky. Low, deep, like a heartbeat. Then Mira looked up. The stars were moving, one by one, in perfect order. The stars began to form a shape, an eye. Mira pulled out a journal she found earlier in the underground base. It had 1 page left, torn and dirty. The words were, "The eye is not a symbol to being. It watches across worlds. When you see it, it sees you." "Close your eyes," Captain Ishan whispered Mira. "Are we being watched right now?" She didn't answer. She slowly looked up at the eye and the stars. And in that moment, she felt it. Something looked back.